Hi everyone, welcome back to Pumpkin Reborns. I'm your host, Critter Girl, and today we're going to be doing a video here with our handy dandy stroller, which I got for 15 bucks at Goodwill. And we're going to be doing a comparison with several of my babies so that we can decide together which size reborn doll looks the best in a stroller. So, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and get this situated. So, this here, let's see, we're going to go ahead and, well, we don't need to open this thing yet. We're going to start off with the smallest. This itty bitty girl is my smallest reborn. This is Linda. I rooted her hair myself, which is why it's a little ratty looking. I could probably stand to touch it up. But anyway, this is Linda, and to get an idea of how tiny she is, this onesie that she's wearing, this baggie on her right now, is preemie size. So, we're going to lay Miss Linda down in the stroller. Get my camera to focus down. Okay. So, we're going to put her down in there. And I'm not going to adjust these straps for each one of them just because these straps are kind of a pain to adjust every single time. But just to get an idea. Now, normally, I will tell you if you've got a reborn this tiny, they probably will not look very realistic in the stroller, at least not this type of stroller. Because most of the time, babies this tiny are not in this type of stroller. They would be in, like, you know, the kind of basket-like stroller. So, here's a better view. I'm just going to turn this thing around. Here's a better view of Miss Linda in her stroller. And I think she looks pretty cute in there, but you can see very easily just how tiny she looks in there. It doesn't look very natural, and from afar, it just doesn't look very natural for a baby that tiny to be in a stroller, especially not one that's built like that. But, of course, you could put a baby that small in a stroller. You could, because it's not like she looks bad in it. But, as you can see, the straps are way loose on her. See how much space right there? And I don't even think they go tight enough to be what would be considered tight enough on a baby that small. So, if you wanted to take a baby this size in a stroller, I would recommend either putting them in clothes that cover them up a lot, maybe make them look a little bigger, or cover them in a blanket once you have them strapped in. Also, a trick that I like to use to make my babies look a little more real is putting the shader on, because you can't see them quite as well that way and they look a bit more real. But as you can see, Linda is so small she doesn't even really sit up in there. So she is probably a little small for a stroller. What do you think? Next, we're going to be going one size up to a newborn size baby. This is Joe. She has kind of a bedhead going on right now, but this is Joe, and she wears newborn size clothes, so considerably larger than Linda, and the majority of my babies are this size. So, she's so cuddly. So, we're going to lay her down in there. And again, it would be, I've seen babies her size in a stroller like this. They're a bit more common in a stroller, babies this size. But still, usually for a real baby, someone would choose I can't remember what they're called, I wish I could, but one of those strollers that are made, more like a basket or a bassinet, would probably be a more popular choice for a newborn, like Joe here, but here she is. So that is what she looks like in the stroller, and I think she looks pretty cute in there. Scoot her over a little bit. If she were to have a blanket on her, and especially if she had her passy, maybe a toy, she would look quite natural in there. And she in of herself looks very realistic. I will have to give her points for that. So we're going to pull our little hood over here. And she does look quite realistic. Her little feet don't even reach the foot divider thing. And back here, one of my favorite things about this stroller is you can kind of see your baby through here when you're back here pushing. She looks very real through that view. You can see it back here, through there. So, okay, yeah, newborn size baby. Looks pretty good in the stroller. Looks like a baby that size would be in a stroller that size. What do you guys think? Okay, and next on the list is Jodie. Jodie is a 0 to 3 month size baby. She wears 0 to 3 month size clothes. She is a chunky girl, and she is our next size up that we're going to try in the stroller. She is about the same size as typical toddler reborns that usually, as most of us probably know, are usually not actually the size of an actual toddler. Because I have a couple of toddler reborns that were advertised as toddlers, but they were 0 to 3 month size clothes. So we're going to be using Jodie for that example because she's the size of your average, Amazon reborn, and reborn made to look like a toddler rather than a baby. So we're going to try her out in here. I've already had Jodie in here before. I think she looks super cute in it. There we go. Probably should have pulled this strap out before I did this. Got these straps tightened because I had Chris in there actually last. My subscribers might remember Chris. Chris is maybe a little smaller than Jodie. Not much, but maybe a little. Let's see, I'm gonna have to loosen this strap. There we go. Okay, had to loosen this strap up. I think I got a little bit too loose, but for a demonstration, that's okay. So, here's Jodie. So here's what she looks like in the stroller. Now, Jodie is a good size to be in the stroller. She looks like a typical, the size of a baby you might see being pushed in a stroller. She looks natural in there, I think, especially if she were to have a pacifier or a toy or something. And so we put this over, and you can't see her quite as well, because if I walk away, you can see her little footsies. If I walk away, she looks even more realistic in the stroller, so I like that. So I think Jodie is a good fit, and we're just going to call her the toddler size reborn. So that is what a toddler size reborn would look like in your stroller, and we're going to peek at her down through here as well. I love this little window. It's so nice. So, okay, there she is. What do you guys think about that size? Alright guys, and last but not least, we have my largest reborn. This is Carrie. Carrie is a 48-inch reborn toddler. See, this is actually the size of a toddler, but they call them reborn child. I think they, kind of advance a little too quickly. But anyway, this is Carrie, and we're going to be trying her in the stroller right now. Now, she's a big girl. As you can see, she's tall. She's about as tall as your average 3-4-year-old maybe. So we're going to have to get her in there, we're going to have to open this up. Oops. She's a little heavy, hard to maneuver, so just bear with me. So, we're going to loosen these. Might have to do that off camera. So, we're just going to get her seated in here. There we go. Try to get her to sit up a bit more. She is a bit hard to position. She is a Amazon reborn toddler. A replica, as some people would call her. So she's very poseable, but she can be a little stiff. So sometimes trying to position her is a little hard, but we're definitely going to have to loosen these straps for her. Here we go. Okay, let's find this side. Yes, it's definitely going to have to be loosened as well. Maybe. There we go. All right, so we're going to put her little arms down. And Carrie, is probably a lot closer to the size of a child that you would see in a stroller like this most frequently. So, I'm just scoot her over a little. Because you can see the leg bar goes perfectly between her legs, and she sits to where her feet almost reach the little footrest. And she leans back just fine, and let's see. I think she looks very natural in there, but I'll give you guys a better view. So here is Carrie in the stroller, and she would look more realistic with socks on, but that's okay for now. And she fits in there perfectly. You can tell that stroller probably, although it would accommodate smaller children, it was probably made with children about her size in mind. Now, simply because she is so big, and normally a child this big would be moving and talking a lot, the bigger reborns don't look quite as realistic in the stroller or in your arms as the newborns, you know. But with the hood on, it helps a little bit. And her eyes are open as well. If their eyes are closed, they look more realistic because they're sleeping. That explains why they're quiet, you know. But with the hood on and from a distance, she looks quite realistic, I think. And we're going to peek in at her from back here. And she's tall, so you can just barely see her head there from our little driver's seat window. So I think she looks very cute. And for her to add realism, I mean, if it's cold, you could put a blanket over her lap. That would be cute. Her hands do not look very real. With Carrie and dolls a lot like her, she has these very obvious joints. One right here on her elbow, but it's covered by her long sleeves. There's also one on her knee and up here on her shoulder. So for dolls like her, a lot of skin showing would not be ideal if you're going for realism, simply because she has all of those joints that are quite obvious. Now, I know some reborn children are made without that, but she is not. So what I would recommend if you're going for realism is long sleeves, long pants, and weather appropriate, maybe even mittens or gloves or some socks and definitely some shoes on her, because a child that old would not be going out without shoes. At least they shouldn't be. So if you're going for realism, that would be good. A bow in her hair or a hat on her hair, because let me go back here. If you look closely at this, her hair part doesn't look very realistic. So, and you know, if it's really sunny out, some sunglasses might do some good. That might make her look a bit more realistic. Can't see her eyes, maybe think she's sleeping. So if you're going for realism, you could try that. Carrie does not take a pacifier, unless I were to modify a pacifier with, say, little silicone earplugs, which I might do. That's actually a good idea. Anyway, so with a pacifier, I think that adds realism, even though a child her size probably shouldn't really have a pacifier. Many of them do anyway. So yeah, you could add a pacifier or a toy in there. A toy in there would look realistic. You could sit a sippy cup right here. Whatever you want to do. But in my opinion, Carrie probably would be my favorite to push around in the stroller, because I like to take my dolls places, including my bigger ones that are a little less convenient. But Carrie is just not convenient to carry. She's a big girl, and she's kind of heavy and a bit awkward to pose. It is hard to pose her to where she looks naturally on my hip. Not much movement, and, you know, she's just not very practical to carry in my arms like babies this size would be. So, in my opinion, a big doll, a reborn child like Carrie, would be my favorite to take in a stroller. So, yeah, that's just my opinion on that. You guys let me know what you think. And so, yeah, I guess that's the gist of this video. I think she looks super cute in there. So, yeah, you guys be sure and let me know which one was your favorite. And if you take your reborns out in strollers sometimes, what tips do you use to make them look realistic or natural? Have a good day, everyone, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.